Welcome back to the channel, guys, your home of hopium-free crypto and economic market cycle updates. I hope you're having an amazing day, no matter where you are on this beautiful planet of ours. Today, let's update Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies, specifically looking at Ethereum as our proxy for cryptos. It has been bleeding out the Bitcoin dominance. So what does that mean? And when are we expecting a turn? We need to update that on the charts as we've been tracking the Ethereum progress, looking at it in terms of traps and areas where it can find resistance for a correction after all of this narrative bullishness on the ETH merge. We know that the news is always late. We know that the news tends to be wrong most of the time, and we just want to prepare for this so that we're not out there blowing our money, FOMOing in to cryptocurrencies just because we're hearing about it in the news. So without further ado, let's crack on with the likes and the subscribes. First up, Bitcoin dominance. Stablecoin taking over, ETH merge. So I'm basically just looking at the dominance chart here for some support and resistance, and we're going to take a look at total market caps, Bitcoin, ETH, for other areas of support and resistance coming up to give us an idea of when we can expect some sort of turn in this market. We'll also look at the short term on Bitcoin. The dominance is at 41%. We can see that in previous history, 39 to 40% on the dominance is where Bitcoin has been finding some support over this last year and 3 or 4 months, right? But of course, stablecoins are also included in this, and the stablecoin market has increased as well. So that's what we've seen here with the dominance drop. I'd say this first drop, this area anyway, was that time when stablecoins were taking over. We had the big fears in June when we had that big drop in Bitcoin, and so people had started to flood back to stablecoins. And of course, stablecoins got a little bit crazy in May when UST dumped. So Bitcoin went up here, calling that a little Bitcoin season. And then basically Ethereum has taken over since that point. July, August, the whole ETH merge has just been on everyone's minds, everyone talking about it, but the price is still just trending up relatively slowly after that initial breakout. So the first thing I'm looking at here is the support on the dominance. We're getting close to that now at about that 40%. Obviously the lowest here is about 39%, but we'll keep an eye on the 40% because it's basically 1% away from where we currently are. Maybe we see a little bounce up, which would be the rally in the drop. So basically a bear market for the dominance, market's dropping, and then you'll see a rally, and that could then flip and coincide with ETH dropping. So let's just take a look at that in a moment. So that's the first chart. The next chart I've got here is total market cap, so all of the cryptocurrency market caps. We're getting close to the next resistance level, 1.2 trillion up to 1.3 trillion. So you can see that was a zone that held the market up during the first correction during the bull market, and then again it just happened to hold the market up slightly after those really sharp severe sell-offs through April and May. So that's another key area that we need to watch for resistance and then hopefully flip it for support. But I'll also show you my short-term, medium-term, and long-term in a second. So just to give you a broader scope of what it is I'm looking at so that there isn't confusion about bullishness and bearishness. All right, let's try and make it a little bit more simple for some of the folks out there. So looking at the resistance level, 1.2, we're getting close to that. If we look at it in terms of a percentage from our current price of 1.1 trillion, going up about 10% away. To the top of that range, about 20 odd percent away. And if we're to break through the downtrend, which we've talked about in previous videos, so definitely go and check those out after this video. I'll leave a link to them at the end of the video. They clearly explain what it is we're looking for in terms of the downtrends and what we're expecting next in the market. To understand the differences between a trap, a medium-term trap, weeks, for some people that's long-term, so what that trap looks like, and then the correction, and the difference between that and a clear breakout. Okay, so if we are to get through the downtrend and then get up to the 50% level, the 1.5 trillion, it's about a 37% move away. So this is the total market caps. There is more room to move, but it looks like we are starting to turn the corner for a correction before we try again. If I throw this on log, the downtrend is a lot further away. So the market has to move a fair distance to get to it in the log format, so 48%, and then around a 50% straight up from this point to break it so that we can come back and test the top side of it, which is basically the market breaking the logarithmic bear market. Okay, that's going to be many weeks away, I think, at this point. It still needs to break it and then come back above and test the level on the upside of that to give us a macro bullish signal. More signals need to come together, but that is one of the macro bullish signals that it needs to break. So we're still in this bear market, still plenty of resistance overhead. All right, Bitcoin on the short-term timeframes. Michael put out a video today looking at this being a potential trap. If we look at just the swings here, market's broken through, but it's had a little bit of a soft close on the day. The positives I see here is that it's closed above the swing tops. It's also closed above the previous pump area from Bitcoin. So that's the top there at 23,800. You know, we've been looking at 21,700, 23,700. The market did yesterday, you can see it closed 15 bucks above that top. So there are some light things I like about this, even if it is to correct. I think the market is still, in the medium term, wanting to come up and test these higher prices. But I don't want to confuse the fact that I think there is still a good chance, provided a good chance in what the market looks like right now in the current structure, that we do test these higher prices, but we come back down. So what that looks like, short term, aka, so there's many traps. Bitcoin is ready to test higher prices in 2022, but it's difficult. There's going to be some trading traps. So I'm not telling everyone to go out there and start trading on leverage or anything like that. It's just about getting an idea of what is coming next. And I think this is going to be some sort of difficult periods. Maybe we'll come back and test that and up. And you can see a lot of the swings are starting to break down. There's a lot of choppiness, and then we test those levels. So it's still bullish to the upside, but it's going to be a little bit difficult. That's what we've looked at in those previous videos where we looked at August and September being a tough trading range. Some people call that bullish because the market is still looking up. But if you're trading, it looks difficult to me because there's a lot of overlap, which means the support and levels get tested a lot and the stops get run a lot. Meaning if you're trading, you got your stops lower, then it gets run and the market goes on. Without you, it still goes up. But what actually happens if you're trading it is much more difficult than just trading in a straight up bull market. So that's the short term. Now, I've said they're bullish. Now for the medium term, aka Bitcoin will trade below current prices in 2022, 2023. So they're the pump traps. So I'm saying bearish in the medium term. And I'm talking about, I've given you a time frame and then the prices as well. So the medium term, I'm seeing that as the rest of 2022, potentially first half of 2023, meaning even if we do test these upper prices, we get to that 26, which we looked at yesterday for specific reasons, and then the 28s, 29s, maybe even the 32s and 35s, I think the market will still have to come back and retest some of these lower levels over the next 6 to 12 months or so. So that's a much broader picture that we're trying to paint here, but I think we'll probably still get some sort of test of these lower prices looking at how the market structure is currently set up. That will change. Medium terms always will change. I'm not going to stick to that, in 3 months' time. If something happens and we break 35 and come back and start to show support above 35, I'm going to have to change my view of the market coming back and testing these levels. But for now, what this looks like from what I've seen in the past, these patterns, that's what it looks like, regardless of what's going on in the macroeconomics of the interest rate rises and China and all that sort of stuff. All right, let's leave that to the side for now and just look at the market structure and the market patterns. Short term, I think we've got a chance here in 2022. Medium term, I think we've got another chance of getting some lower prices. And then the longer term, long-term bullish. I expect to see another major bull market before 2026 is out. Meaning I think we'll see another peak on or before 2026 for reasons also that I've talked about in the past on this channel. So that's the short term of Bitcoin. I think there is still room to move to the upside, which means I still think there is room for Ethereum to move to the upside. But I've been seeing some signs of weakness, especially in the timeframes and the prices, just for a potential of a short-term correction. Now, this is difficult because we're trying to call tops here. I don't like doing that, but I have to respect what the market has given us in the past and said in bear markets, the number of weeks up is generally at a max 5, maybe a week or two more. But so far we've seen on a swing, which is this tool here, TIA Gann Swing Indicator. As always, there's a link to this in the video description for this specific tool that we've created based on over 120 years of data. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 weeks up because we just put in a higher high. In the past, in history, it has shown within a bear market, ETH tends to do 5 weeks and then show some sort of correction and then a further move up, or that is the peak and then the market heads down from that point. So just looking at the previous bear market, you can see this is a major bear market. We're looking like we're getting something similar to this sort of move up where there's a lot of excitement and then we might fade out. I'm not saying we're going to get this extreme move to the downside, another 90% from the peak. Anything is possible, of course, but 5 weeks up within a bear market correction, and then the market tried to come at it again. It couldn't happen. A week up, 4 weeks up. This is all still considered the bear market. This is the strongest pump it had in the bear market, and even in that, you had 5 weeks, and there is a 1 week correction before it went on for another 3 weeks. But in time, it's a lot, and that can sucker a lot of new people in, and it definitely will if this is to happen. It did go up another 60% from that low, but from the peak, which is where a lot of people do buy, the top to the top was only about 25%, and it did go on just for 3 weeks before it corrected and came back down. So there's not that many data points here, but if we just look at just the bear markets, 5 weeks, these are all just 1 weeks, 1, 4, 3, 2, 2, 2, 5, and we just looked at that, 1, 3, 3, 2, 0, there's 8 weeks here, and then the COVID crash, and then we flipped into the bulls. So we had 7 weeks, 3, 2, 8, 1, 2, 4, 4, 1, 8, 2, 7. So there's a lot more within the bull market than there is the bear market. And we're obviously in a bear market right now. If anyone wants to dispute that, of course, comment section is open. But we're at 5 weeks, so I'm just respecting that we could see some sort of correction here either this week or maybe if we are to extend because of the ETH merge narrative that is being pumped really heavily, maybe we go on for another week or two. But we are at price resistance as well. And to the upside in terms of price, we're getting quite close to that now. Top to 22, we know we've been looking at 2100, that's about 15% away. The 2200 level, which is the 50%, about 21%. So there's still something in it. And then to get to that 50% level, around $2,500, about a 36% move from the current top. So there's still room to move. But in terms of where we're probably topping out for now, maybe see a correction, we're getting towards the end of those time periods that ETH tends to run before seeing a correction and then potentially another move up. If we're to see another move up, maybe we see the correction here, come back down to some of the support levels of maybe at $1,400 or $1,500, maybe a little lower, not going to be that much, and then we want to see the higher low for the next test to the upside. That's going to be the best case scenario. There's going to be buying opportunities if we see the support come in and then the move higher, breaks of swing tops, maybe on a shorter term time frame, and then head towards those $2,200, $2,500 levels, leading closer into the merge dates being around the 19th of September. So we still have a lot of time, about 5-6 weeks. So this could be the 5 weeks up, the 1 or 2 weeks down, and then that gives us another 3 or 4 weeks into the merge and to finish just before the merge because of the whole buy the rumor, sell the news. You get the peak out before the actual event happens, and that timing at the moment works out quite nicely into those next price resistance levels, probably that last move for ETH. It's a long way off, still 5 or 6 weeks. We're trying to plan many weeks ahead, so there is a possibility that it doesn't work out, and obviously we'll keep in touch with what's going on in the charts. For now, this week being the 5th week, maybe into next week, before we see some sort of correction for ETH, and I think the alts might also play a part in that too, start to come down with the market. As for the total market cap, it also looks like it's just running out of a little bit of steam here, but I still think there's room to move. So essentially, in the short term, maybe topping, but there's still a little bit more room to move to the upside before some of these catalysts come to their timing, of the dates coming up in the next several weeks. So let's keep a lookout for that. Keep an eye on where these charts are going. If you're looking to trade, make sure you have your stops in place because the timing is sort of getting to that end of as far as they like to stretch, essentially. With that in mind, check out our free newsletter. It's coming out in the next 24 hours. Drop your name, email address down below. Link is in the top of the video description. Absolutely free. Crypto, Bitcoin, and real estate, which is what we personally invest in. So go and check those out for more information. And like, subscribe, all that stuff down below. Thanks for your support, guys. Question today, Do you think this is the weekly top? Or are we going to just boost all the way up to $25-ish, $100? We're going to make to $2,000 in ETH. Weekly top correction, or we're going straight to past $2,000. Let me know in the comments down below. I'll see you guys in the next video. Until then, have more fun to get more done. Peace out.